Hello everyone, welcome back to my Ladder League recaps. In this video we have nothing to recap, but there is a lot to talk about, two prediction forums to fill out. I'm very excited. I mean, the Ladder League is back, and it should be a lot of fun. Um, yeah, and I want to just start by talking about the new format. We have two major changes. We'll start with the wild card. This is maybe the one I'm less enthusiastic about, but I think it's still really cool. The idea is that we've shrunk the ladder to only have seven rounds, so only 7 people will qualify by the normal way of winning in rung one. That leaves one more spot in the playoffs up for grabs, and we're gonna give it to the person that hasn't qualified that gets the best single time anywhere in the ladder. And I mean the idea here, and it should be really cool, is it's gonna make a lot of races that otherwise would be a little bit of like snooze fest, of like already decided or don't matter, and it's going to give runners, especially around here, like every time they play, it matters what time they get because they can secure a top 8 spot even if like the race itself is just completely decided, like blowout or snoozer or whatever. Like if one of these runners gets on a good run, we have to pay attention, and that should make a lot of races more interesting. Um, yeah, I think it has some downsides. Like, I guess I personally, if I was in full control, I would not have liked to shrink the ladder. I still, would have preferred the bigger size. I mean, maybe my ideal would have been to have some wild card and just expand the playoffs to get it instead of shrinking the ladder. Part of that is my perspective as a runner in the bottom rung who, like, I would have a full rung below me if we kept it the same size, and then that would make my time a little more comfortable. I'd have a couple of weeks of just very easy advancement. So that could just be my selfish perspective. I will also say there's some push and pull with the fact that the wild card should probably be going to a high seed. Like, I'd be surprised if the highest seed that doesn't qualify top 7 doesn't get the wild card. Because, like, that player just has, like, a higher ceiling and they have 7 chances to show it. I mean, like, I think when you get there through the bracket, you can be someone that's like a little below that cut line, but you just kind of run into opponents who mess up. You have a good week, just play consistently. But like, all it takes is one PB level flaming laser or Daime or dragon run, and like you're just not really gonna beat that in a race if you're someone below them. And that does like kind of reduce the like Cinderella factor a little bit, but it does help get us the top 8 runners into the final bracket. Should make playoffs very exciting. Um, yeah, I think it's an interesting change. I'm curious to see how I feel about this at the end. But I do have some reservations. I think it's still totally feasible for some of these runners to like make a run to top 8. They just have to do it here probably. Um, I don't know. It'll be interesting. Maybe someone here improves fast enough that they can be putting up like wild card level times. I think that the final wild card time is gonna be around a 225, maybe a 224. So I mean, quite a bit of room, but not like out of the range of someone like Flup or Coolison to be getting that kind of PB a month from now and have a few chances to match that PB in a race. Yeah, it'll be interesting. The other change though is one that I'm a lot more enthusiastic about. I really think that this solves basically every problem the ladder league had, and that is the leapfrog system, where if for any rung, let's say the first place person in this rung gets a better time than second place in this rung, then you like take their place as this runner and you move up 2 spots. Second place here doesn't get to move up at all. And this solves a ton of problems that I had with last year's ladder league. I think the very direct thing I was looking to solve when I was thinking about this is that first and second place doesn't mean anything. You'll have, races where third place gets decided here, there was a soft lock, and then suddenly we just know the result, and it's like you can turn off the race. But now there's a difference between first and second. You have, right, if you're first place, you have the chance to leapfrog and you know you are safe, but if you're second place, you might not be able to actually move up at all. That difference means something. And that should make a lot of these races more exciting, even if the bottom runner is like not competitive for whatever reason. Also, there was this problem with like odd even rung stuff where, like, let's look at like Jablaki and Laser, who like are closely matched runners at this point. They should be racing each other, but like they just kind of slide past each other, and it's impossible for them to like actually meet because they just stay. Like if you're in an odd number rung, you're gonna go even, then odd, then even, then odd, and there's like no way to break that pattern unless you get to the top or bottom. So around the middle of the ladder, there's just like no interaction, and a lot of good races that we just never were able to get. That is solved by the leapfrog because anytime a leapfrog happens, both runners involved like switch sides, basically. So you would see, with Jablaki this run, I guess he would be leapfrogging Laser. They wouldn't meet each other, but like he would still get into the like other side of the ladder playing against different people this time in a way that like he wouldn't have been able to before. Yeah, I mean, the like there are a lot of, just looking at like last year's ladder league, a lot of situations where there would have been a leapfrog, but there wasn't. I mean, Twice Light here not only beat everyone in the rung above him, but even would have leapfrogged in this rung. It really helps. Like there was some problems with like the bottom rung being too punishing, where like once you're down there, you have to get first every single week. But now there's like a way out. You can leapfrog from the bottom rung, as would have happened, say, here with Phantom, and then he would have survived another week, been rewarded for that performance. Um, it gives you kind of mobility to go up the ladder faster than was possible, so you can get farther away from the bottom if you really improve. And we see these runners that like Twice Light and Phantom are good examples of people last year that did improve like really fast early in the tournament, and they would have been, I think, better rewarded for it with the leapfrog ability because they could have actually gotten away from their starting seed. Um, so I just, with all of those things combined, they're all solved by the leapfrog. It makes the whole ladder much more fluid and much more like interactive between rungs. So you kind of you there's more like head to heads that matter, not just like the first and second now mattering, but you also think about the rung above and below and how they're going to affect you. So I think it'll really help like the best performances actually rise to the top instead of just like, more being a little more selective with who you're playing and stuff. I'm really excited to see this one taking shape. Um, yeah, and on that note, I guess also there's been a lot of major changes to the game. Um, a small one I don't see anyone talking about is the fact that we are doing episode 1 reset now. That is meta. That's really good for races because that's now doing saves from 1-1 is only going to lose you 12 and a half seconds instead of the 42 and a half it was before. I think we'll see a lot more PBs in races because of that. But then, of course, God Fraud is a thing. And that'll just be really interesting. I don't know. I mean, a lot of runners that do it say it's like actually very consistent, but you like watch their streams and they miss it more often than they would with normal pod fraud. And we saw how bad normal pod fraud was. So, I I think it will be good content. Frankly, I am excited to see people have those like big meltdowns and see if they can recover. Um, it could lead to some upsets. Like if a favored runner decides to go for it, they could kind of completely level the playing field by missing it. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see the decision making because I think we've never really had that many strats that people will drop in a no reset. But this could be the first like really big one that people will actually not go for it. But it saves so much that some people could fall for that trap. Um, the decision making will be interesting, and I think we're gonna see some runners be going for it in situations that they really should not be. And surely somebody will be punished for that. Um, I'm very curious to see how that goes. Um, yeah, with that, I'm going to get into the predictions. First, the top 8 prediction form, where you just pick which seed you think everyone is gonna get. Worth noting that, like, unlike last time, there are a lot more options for some of these. Like, literally everyone can get the 4 seed because of leapfrogs. Like, someone like me, I would have to get like 3 leapfrogs to even be in the race to get this, but it is technically possible. And I think that is a benefit of the system, that like I'm not confined to like only getting the last seed if I'm making it at all. But yeah, down to we'll start with seed 1. Jared, Frost, Justin. This will just go to the winner of this race. Um, I'm not entirely sure how in practice Frost is. I think it's been like a month and a half since he's played the game. I checked the run.gg a couple days ago. Justin is just doing his first runs today. He has been live as I'm recording. I think he went live like 2 or 3 hours ago, and I have not seen him make it past pod race. So I don't know how that's gonna go. They do have like a full week before this race. Justin is known to derust fast, but I think it's just like a disadvantage that they both have. Jared is clearly in practice; he's the record holder, and the odds here are close enough that I don't feel like I'm really taking a setback to just believe in that. So I'm gonna go with Jared for seed 1. Seed 2 is interesting because you kind of are looking for like who is gonna get second place um, in that race, because whoever gets second place in this race is going to be favored to win this one. Though you could also go for someone like Senor, who is probably going to be in this race. He is, I mean, going to be even farther behind on derusting than any of them. He has not even started yet, and I think we have a couple days before Senor can start playing the game. Yeah, so as much as I think the value kind of supports picking him as someone who like should be like a guarantee to be in this race, and like on paper you see the name and you think it should be competitive, but I just don't think that's gonna happen. I think I have to go with Frost here, just looking at the odds. Certainly Justin is a very viable contender here. Again, this is just like, who do I think will get second week 1? I'm gonna side with Frost right now because I'm getting more points to do so, but it's very close between those two. And I guess seed 3, whoever gets last in that first race, is probably gonna bounce right back. Right, they'll be in this race, right back up to this one. So the safest, easiest thing to do is to pick Justin right here. At this point in the ladder, he's going to have a lot more derusting done. I think he'll be, like contending for record by this point in time. I mean, I wonder about like Senor, because like he also will have derusted quite a bit. The 15 points is a little bit appealing. Yeah, I think I'm gonna play it safe though. No, I think actually, on second thought, like that multiplier is pretty big. I think Justin's not even that safe of a pick because there's a good chance he gets a top 2 seed. I think Senor is very likely to be in this particular race. And by this point in time, he's going to have some derusting done. He is a very good player. He's 4th place with his PB missing like a million strats. I think Senor here is a good bet. And at this point, I will just take Justin. And now I'm getting a pretty big value on it. Again, like if he's in the ladder at this point, he surely will be in the top rung. He will be the favorite. Um, yeah, it's. I mean, this is sort of a natural consequence of the other picks. I'm not gonna pick him to get something even worse because it's just there's no way he doesn't make it out at some point. Honestly, like I don't even want to say I'm like doubting Justin because I don't. I just feel like I'm seeing like appealing point values for other people here. I think Justin is, perfectly capable of getting any of these seeds. But I think in terms of trying to maximize my points, this is the best play. So I guess, yeah, as I've kind of revealed, I think there's sort of a clear cutoff after these top four. I mean, it's like a clear top three, and then Senor is in his own world where I don't know really where he's going to be. And then we get everyone else. Um, Harazmi and Anorak have improved a lot lately. I mean, Anorak was like one of the last seeds in last year's ladder league. Huge, huge change from him grinding all year. I mean, Harazmi also kind of sort of like a mid tier runner. I guess he like completely broke out beginning of last ladder league just to get in. Had like a 10-minute PB, and now he's been optimizing a little more. I don't think he's so actively running though. Let's see. If I'm remembering, I don't think Harazmi was so consistent of a racer. I mean, I don't know what happened here. I don't want to just like see a big number and call him a bad racer, though I'm not. I don't know what his PB was at this point. I don't want to judge this too harshly, but it doesn't look the best. Really, what I'm trying to lead to here is I actually want to pick Dragon. And I mean, the reason is that we've just seen a lot of improvements from Dragon in the last week. I mean, he's got like a 223 now, I think, which is like the same PB as Harazmi. We have no idea how good Dragon is going to be in races. I've honestly like barely ever watched him play. I know like almost nothing about him except for the times he's putting up. And I don't look at like Harazmi, Anorak, Laser. I mean, just I don't think of any of them as particularly good or consistent racers. Um, that could be, especially for Anorak, that could be some unfair judgment. We haven't seen him, in a tournament as a top runner. Um, like this stuff. I rewatched this recently with like the 24-hour marathon we did. This was one of the races in there, and like the mistakes he made here are just something you would absolutely never see him do. So it's like you can't judge that. And there was a soft lock, I think, in this one. So like this is all we've seen of Anorak as a racer, and it's I think completely says nothing about what he'll do this time. Yeah, I don't want to write them off, but there's a lot of points riding on Dragon because we set these odds before he got a couple of these PBs. I think he could be in for something big. For seed 6, again, I'm kind of looking at these three. Um, I think this is maybe where I take Anorak. I kind of talked myself into it just looking at his race performances last time and seeing that they're actually not bad, or at least like not. They don't really tell us anything bad. Um, and I'll just close that by taking Harazmi here. I'm obviously the notable exclusion is Laser. I think he just has like a more proven history than these other racers of just being like inconsistent in a no reset setting. When I said somebody's gonna get punished going for God Fraud that really shouldn't, I was basically talking about Laser. He's gonna do that. Yeah, I think. Now that being said, perfect candidate for the wild card because he's going to have some race where he does hit God Fraud and does hit like Shimkin Box or whatever, you know, like he's got 7 chances for it to come together. I think he hits on one of them, but just like probably decent chance that it won't be the right one, and that'll hold him out of top 7 seed. Yeah, there's really a pretty big cut line between 8 and 9. I didn't talk about any of like these runners. And like I think Daime obviously deserves some respect here. Same with Flup and like Coolison. I mean, even going down like Revy, Twice Light, these are sub 230 runners. I think Phantom has a 230. T Fresh even like he has like a 231 or something. But like if he were to take any percent PC seriously for the ladder league, we all know he's good enough to very quickly improve. I don't think so much he's gonna do that. Um, I mean, I'll just say like I don't. Yeah, like down here, I mean, Quasar has been improving very fast. It's sort of an interesting one to watch. I don't see it for myself, sadly. I think there's a world where like I started playing any percent maybe a week earlier, and I went like 10-15% harder, and I would have like a 233 right now, and I'd think like, oh yeah, I'm ready to just keep pushing. I'm gonna get so good. I'd be really motivated to like make that push for top 8. But now because it's like a cycle where like I don't think I even have a chance at top 8, so I'm not so motivated to try. Kind of like I'm thinking about what I'm gonna do after I'm out of ladder league. So yeah, I mean, yeah, that's all to say. I'm not gonna get top 8, guys. Don't pick me. Um, yeah, okay. I had this set to. Now I'm forgetting. It was Harazmi here. Yeah, but like this tier of runners totally could. We would need to see them improve some amount or get lucky in a race for like the 7 seed, which totally could happen. I can't like identify one specific racer in this territory that like seems super primed to make that jump, but it wouldn't surprise me if somebody does. I'm not gonna pick the specific one. There's because I feel like if I did, it would just be somebody else. Yeah, it's gonna take something like a real improvement to break the current like top 8 we have here. It feels relatively ironclad, but there is a lot of time for that to happen. Um, okay, with that all in mind, let's just get to the week 1 prediction forum and also play-ins. A couple of runners I have not talked about here in the play-ins. Um, so obviously I'll start with Benny Moon. Haven't like watched him play ever. I do know this PB is outdated. He beat it by like 3-4 minutes, and that is encouraging. That kind of makes him like a serious contender in this race. Um, I think when you see the like only qualified for the league by 4 seconds, you think like, yeah, he's just gonna lose to someone like Olive who has like sub 240 very clear potential. But now he with that PB, I think he'll chance at getting another one. He can probably hang. I don't see it for Appleman. He said in like Zoda's chat like yesterday, I saw that he has not touched the game since last year. So I don't think that's gonna happen for Appleman, sadly. Chroma, I don't know how much he's been playing. Like it hasn't been that long, but I just I guess like I haven't seen any specific information that he has like is primed for another 4 minute PB or something. I'm not sure. Olive has had like multiple runs die in Bespin that were like sub 240 borderline. That's why the odds are so low with Olive. Where there's sort of an expectation that Olive is the favorite, and I think that's right. Um, I don't know if the like choking in Bespin is gonna be like a thing. It's something that could just happen at this range, and it's very easy to overcome by practicing it for a good hour, and you just fix all your problems. But maybe it's nerves. Maybe it'll be even worse in a race. I don't know. I'm kind of tempted to take the big points for Benny off that new PB. There is just like a huge like potential gap though, I think. Yeah, I'm gonna stick with Olive. I think that breakthrough is coming very soon. And I also am gonna stick with Olive for playing round 2. I just haven't seen Yehoodles or Nolan doing anything. Really, I mean Yehoodles has had a couple D Rust runs that were just like awful. Over 3 hours by a lot. I don't think Nolan has done anything. So again, like if Olive gets that breakthrough to like a 240, then that's just like you're leaving them in the dust, and I don't think they're really actively trying to keep up. So that's why the low seed, whoever it is actually the favorite here. Yeah, I'm pretty sure whoever, if it's like Benny Moon that wins this, I still think he would be the favorite in this race, but especially strong with Olive. All right, moving to Rung One. I've sort of talked about some of these runners, like this one, carbon copy of my last pick. I'm going for Jared. Uh, Senor Harasmi Anorak is interesting because at this point, Senor may only have like 3 or 4 days back. Um, so he's kind of viewed as the favorite. I don't know how much that will hold in this setting. I think I'm gonna go Harasmi just on the odds. I don't really know. I kind of have no idea. Harasmi's kind of a confusing runner for me. As you can see, I was like struggling to explain my thoughts on him in the last section. This will probably be the best race of the week. It's just a complete toss up with all of these. I have no idea. Like, I actually feel pretty confident in my thoughts in Rung One, but I just have no idea what to expect in this race. And yeah, I'm gonna go Dragon here for the same reasons I said earlier. This PB is already meaningfully outdated, and I think Laser has not shown me that he is a good racer, to be honest. Flup, Coolison, Revi. Coolison is somebody that we have not seen in a tournament before, making his debut. I don't have such high expectations, but you never know. Like, I mean, there were racers last time that had never been in a tournament before, and they showed up and they were actually just like quite good in that setting. Revelo is actually a great example. Revi showed like very good consistency. I don't watch Coolison doing like no resets or anything, so like I don't know what his times are like when he does this. Um, I think I might just go with Revi. Revi has plot armor from last tournament, so I think the 4.5 is a pretty good shout. I don't think that gap is quite big enough to justify. And I know Revi is currently in practice. I'm not certain about Flup, so I'm gonna go with Revi. I'm making a lot of these, I think, bolder picks, but I'm chasing points here. All right, Twice Light Phantom T Fresh. I think I think T Fresh is not going to prepare for this in the way that you would want to see him. Um, yeah, I think Twice Light has this one. I just think he's a good runner. I don't know. I mean, PB wise, it's basically a toss up between him and Phantom. But I just remembering the improvement we saw from Twice Light last ladder league, I would not be surprised to see him pick up right where he left off and get some good times this time. Yeah, this is another one where you have outdated PBs. I mean, I think Charizard had like an unrecorded 32 a year ago. Hasn't done anything lately. Quasar, on the other hand, is actively improving as like a 33 or something now and is continuing to grind. Zoda should be a fun watch. Well, I'd love to see what strats he pulls out. I don't think he's in practice enough to really put up a competitive time. Though, on the other hand, that PB is like from a race last tournament, I think. So it's like he could just beat it again. It's not like that's some great reflection of his skill. I'm still just going to go with the runner that's like actively grinding. I think activity is your real most important factor here. Something that a guy like a Big Soul, I don't know what he's doing, haven't seen him, probably not very active. Now, this winner of play-ins, which I said would probably be Olive, could be a good option, but I will just believe in myself. I know I can beat this PB by a lot. It's bad. And I think I will by the time this race happens. I think when this race happens, I'm gonna have a good like 4 minute PB gap. And just based on like I haven't seen Big Soul working to lower this time, and like Olive is so far behind. I just have like a big head start if I can convert something. And so I should be able to tap this in. I'm also not taking that many risks with my strat choices, and I think that's going to help me convert in a situation where I have a big PB advantage. Yeah, so that is my thoughts on all of these races. I'm really excited that the ladder league is back. I am excited to be playing in this one. I feel like I have a much better footing with like my own game than I did last year, which obviously the bar is on the floor for that, but like I've enjoyed playing any percent a little bit. And even if I'm not gonna make it that far, it's like I feel like a renewed appreciation for any percent after playing it for a bit. Um, and I'm just super excited to see all the races. It was so much fun last year, and I think this one will be just as good. So thank you for watching. Let's watch some Lego guys move fast.